celebrating our 1-year anniversary of That Pharmacist Show. Thank you so much for watching. Today we are celebrating our 1-year anniversary of That Pharmacist Show. Thank all of our supporters and followers, and thank you for leaving all your comments and words of support. And we want to acknowledge the fathers and father figures in our life since it is Father's Day weekend, and we want to wish everyone a what?
Happy Juneteenth!
Yes, so let's get it started.
I got my dad-in-law, and I got my husband. Those are the 3 father figures that I have in my life, and I'm very grateful for them. Happy Father's Day. And all my uncles, happy Father's Day. And my brother and my cousin, happy Father's Day.
Yeah, so I have one father, one earthly father. His name is Carl Johnson, and he is, I think my daddy turned 70 years old this year in February, and so that is one really huge blessing because in October of last year he was really fighting for his life, and we weren't sure whether or not he was going to make it. And so for us to celebrate him in February turning 70, and then to be able to celebrate Father's Day with my dad living, walking vertically, is truly a blessing. So happy Father's Day, Daddy, and happy Father's Day to all the men out here with children who are doing what they should be doing for their children.
I want to wish my dad a happy Father's Day, and I thank him for being in my life and being a supportive father. And throughout the years, whatever I've tried to do, whether it was successful or not successful as far as businesses, he always supported me. And I want to acknowledge my grandfather, Dennis Howard. Happy Father's Day to you and every other male in my family. I'm not going to start calling names.
So I would like to send a happy Father's Day to my father, Daryl Hicks, born and raised in Wilmington, North Carolina. He's an amazing cook, so I can always call him a good cooking advice. So I would like to say thank you for all that you have done for me, and I wish you well on your happy Father's Day.
Next, we're going to be talking about, since we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary, we are going to be talking about, each one of us is going to share what our most memorable show was or most memorable laugh. We had a lot of good times behind the scenes, and sometimes when we were planning behind the scenes, we had a lot of good content and a lot of good laughs that we didn't share with y'all. So each one of us is going to talk about the most memorable or funny thing since we've been together.
So one of my favorite skits that we had, I'm gonna call it a skit because there's a little scene that we showed. It was on Pharmacist Burnout, so make sure you go view that on YouTube. It was really good. Shamita was talking about her experiences in retail pharmacy, and our editor here, Mariko, had added some like really sad plain music in the background, and it had me cracking up. It wasn't what she said that had me cracking up, but the music being added in there for that empathy had me cracking up. I thought it was funny.
Imagine how that was. It was rough on my body. I started having migraines more often. I started having issues with my feet, so I had to get special inserts made. So it can be very draining mentally and physically.
Okay, so my favorite show was definitely our first show. So it was nice finally getting to meet all the ladies and just share that moment with each other. So that was my favorite show so far.
And I do want to point out, before Dr. Q gives her part, I do want to point out that when we recorded the first show, that was our first time all 4 of us coming together and meeting us. Some of us, we already knew each other, but all 4 of us. And so I think it really speaks to itself that we are still together, still doing this. So.
But no drama, y'all.
No drama. No.
Although she tried to comfort me, y'all.
She still loves me.
So my favorite show has been, I think, was our last show the mental health show with the
Second to last.
That was the second to last show. Okay, I was just sharing with the ladies. I don't watch the show myself because I don't like seeing myself on camera. I'm trying to get better with that. But I would say, hands down, my favorite show to participate in was the mental health show, just because it is such a crisis, is very timely, the information that we were giving out and the information that we were getting from the licensed counselor that we had on the show.
So, counseling modalities. And then you kind of get into the evidence-based treatment, such as cognitive behavioral, emotion-focused therapy, trauma-focused therapy. And then you have dialectical behavioral therapy. There are myriad forms of different types of counseling, but I would say fundamentally, they're all focused on how to become the better version of myself by addressing the most pressing and perhaps most oppressive traumas that a person might have been through in their particular life.
And I just really learned a lot. There are a lot of things that I already knew about the mental health crisis. I think even in my own journey of mental health and understanding what that looks like, I didn't really consider some of the things that came out in that show. So nice plug. If you haven't watched that one, please do watch that one, because it was a really, really good informational show around what does the mental health field process, what does it look like for you, and when you should seek help.
My favorite one, it was not a show. It was when we went, I think we went live on Instagram.
Yeah.
And we were recording and we were playing a game about which pill you would be.
Oh yeah.
And LaQuoya, Dr. Q.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Q said she was, y'all remember? Viagra.
But I'm still gonna go with Viagra.
Why is that?
Because, so like, I think of it as Viagra is when you need that extra push. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So when you need that extra push just to get over that hump, that's when you call LaQuoya. Because I'm going to come through for you. Okay. Right? And we know that you don't need Viagra all the time. You just need it some of the time.
For mature audiences.
I thought that was really funny.
Mm-hmm. That came from an actual interview question, a residency interview question.
Really? And you
Yeah.
said that? And
I did.
That was the behind the scenes.
I
You were
did.
talking about that
Yeah,
behind the
it was
scenes
a
too
resident,
much.
because we were talking about stupid questions, right? That we had gotten, and that was a residency interview question. Like, if you could be any drug, what drug would you be? I had never heard. I didn't plan for that question, and I mean, Viagra just popped in my head. Like, it was like, yeah.
I was actually asked that during the interview, so that might be a new question they're starting to ask to throw you off.
It's
I don't
old.
know, but I was asked at my most recent interview, what medication would I be?
Interesting.
and what did you say?
I said Spravato. So Spravato is an antidepressant for major treatment resistant major depression. So I've heard really good things about it. The patients love it, don't want to come off of it. So I'm like, hey, why not make people happy? So
Yes.
I like that.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we're gonna transition and talk about what is happening now in each of our lives. Just for those of you who are wondering what we do when we're not doing the show.
outside of work, don't really do too much because I be tired when I get out for work. I be hard to save lives. But no, outside of work, I do really try to practice what I preach as a healthcare professional. Also, partake in living a healthy lifestyle. So I've been trying to get back into the gym more, working out, watching what I eat. So that's something I'm really enjoying right now. It's just fitness. I'm getting back into a daily routine of working out.
That's good. That's really good.
I'm trying.
You doing it?
It's hard, but I'm trying.
So when do you work out mostly? Is it in the morning
I did
or?
cancel my gym membership, so I don't have that anymore. But I do work out in the evenings, which makes it hard because I really am tired by the time I get off. But I typically try to do some cardio, and then I'll do either I rotate out doing lower body, upper body, abs, and just kind of rotate throughout the week on what I do. But YouTube. Don't pay for a gym membership. You can just pull up good old YouTube, find you a nice workout video, and there you have it.
Yes.
That's what I was doing. I found I'm taking a break right now because I'm in the transition of moving. But that's what I did. I found a really nice 25-minute aerobic
Mhm.
video, and I bought me a step aerobic, the little step.
Oh, okay.
And so I was doing it, and I had to gradually work myself up because I just couldn't start out with 25 minutes. I would just
Right.
hurt myself.
Yeah.
So I gradually worked my way up, and then I had gotten to 25 minutes, but then I just took a break. But the video was on YouTube. It's a really good one.
And she just brought up a good point. For those of you who want to start your fitness journey, you do not have to start off doing an hour a day. You can definitely work your way up to that.
Right.
Start off just do 15 minutes of some cardio, walking around the neighborhood, and then just work your way up that way. And try to start doing, 3 to 5 days a week of some cardio and go from there.
Yeah.
I'm with that. I just recently started to kind of change my diet a little bit. I got some good encouragers, good friends of mine that I've known for quite some time, which this is what they do. So I've been also kind of doing the same thing. I've been on YouTube. I'm not gonna Mad Fit. I'll call it out. Mad Fit. She's great when it comes down to exercises on YouTube. And then I've got my friend Zarika, who's also she does nutritional and fitness consultant. She's the bomb. Is the best body, I think is her Instagram. And then Alpha Fitness 910. She helps me with my workouts. They're my encouragers that hold me accountable, and I think it's very important to have somebody to hold you accountable. I get that morning text every so often, good morning, and that means what have you eaten today? What is your diet looking like? And I guess I can kind of transition into what it is that I plan on doing moving forward. I really want to work on my Instagram platform. Part of that has to do with nutrition, which is very much pharmacy related. Talking about natural foods and just natural things that would aid in just being healthy, even when it comes down to disease states and so on and so forth. So I plan to move forward. So expect that. Dr. Tiff, that pharmacist on Instagram. I'm gonna get it together, I promise. But going forward with that, and I have a milestone birthday coming up.
What's that?
What is that?
I'm turning 40, guys.
Yes.
What
July.
are you doing?
Okay.
So we're going to Barbados.
Yes. Who's we?
The whole family.
The whole family,
We're going
yes.
to Barbados. That's where majority of my family is from. So
Okay.
we get to go visit, and we get to hang out at the beach. And
That's
Nice.
awesome.
you might see it on Instagram.
Welcome to the 40 Club.
40 Club.
We not there yet.
Yeah, you know you ain't there yet, honey, but let me tell you, the 40 Club is where it's at.
Okay.
It is. It's the bomb.
So what's going on with you, Dr. King?
What's going on? So much. Where do I start?
Busy bee.
Yes,
Mhm.
I stay busy.
Busy queen
She
bee.
is booked and busy, y'all. So let's see. What can I say? I am really excited to talk about the public speaking that I've had the opportunity to do. So I've been doing a lot of speaking around my passion, diversity, equity, inclusion. Just finished a keynote speaking just yesterday on how to build a legacy for inclusion with the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership Seminar. And I have been doing some diversity, equity, and inclusion training for some churches. I have a summer camp coming up in July, and we'll also be speaking for the North Carolina Continuing Teachers Association, something of that nature, that'll be here in Winston-Salem. So I'm doing that, working very hard on that. Launching my Grace Culture Framework and creating by August, I plan to have 4 ACPE accredited courses around diversity, equity, and inclusion, teaching leaders how to lead and manage diversity from using the application of grace. I still teach for 2 community colleges, but summer school, I decided to take a break because it's kind of stressful actually teaching. Being on this other side of teaching and not being on the student side, it's a whole nother world. Like, I keep trying to tell people, like, you really don't know what other people are going through until you're in their shoes and you're having their role. And teaching is definitely a labor of love. Like, I'm so fulfilled when I leave the classroom. It fulfills me to be able to share my wisdom and knowledge, but grading and all the other things that come along with teaching,
Yeah.
it is a lot.
You don't
So
do the automatic grading.
no. Well, so yes, if it's multiple choice, but I like for my students to really be able to critically think.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my last,
I already know.
no, y'all not gonna, no, we're not doing that. Okay. Some stuff we do have some things that are multiple choice, but like my favorite course that I teach, spring semester is right before they graduate. It's called "What Language Does Your Patient Hurt In?"
Mm.
So each week we go through a different culture. And we talk about that culture, their beliefs, their traditions, even their foods, and how we can treat patients based upon the fact that now we have this new awareness around this particular culture and ethnicity, right? And so I love that. And that's not a check of the box for me. It's not a multiple choice, because you can't put LaCoya on an exam and check a multiple choice, right? I am a multicultural being, so I want to know that they're really getting a lot from the course. So for that reason, there's a lot of essays. And so I have to read each one of those essays. And I'm not just looking at grammar, I'm also looking at what's your thought process.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably nice to see their point of view as well.
Oh,
because
yes.
I'm sure everybody in your class comes from different backgrounds also. So
Right.
you get to see through their lens how they might be viewing and seeing another culture.
Yes.
And that cultural aspect, is that part of the curriculum, or that's just something that you bring as a professor?
That's a great question. So we actually have a course called Pharmacy Trends. So I teach the course called Pharmacy Trends, but the book that we adopted is the book that's called What Language Does Your Pharmacy, or What Language Does Your Patient Hurt In? So we're talking about diversity and inclusion, which is not a trend, but it is something that is very relevant today. It's very relevant to your practice as a pharmacy technician, a healthcare provider, and really just being a human being. We need to expand our mindset around culture, around ethnicity, around the fact that race really doesn't exist. That's a whole nother soapbox. But just getting them to expand their mindset, and I can really see this total growth in them. And it's an 8-week course from week 1 to week 8, because we start on your own individual culture. What are the values and beliefs that you have as an individual, and how is that shaped? And we talk about what is your primary culture, and then what is your secondary culture, right? And so once they have solidified who they are, now they can really open their eyes to these other ethnic cultures and see where there's differences, but even more so, where are there similarities? Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings with the same needs and values.
And I think that's a really cool aspect that you have, because when I was in pharmacy school, we did not get that type of training. And in order to be able to reach patients where they are, I think understanding their culture, so you can be able to break through certain barriers, it can definitely, I haven't looked at the studies, but I would imagine that it can definitely help improve health outcomes when you can understand someone's culture and know how to better address them and the things that are of importance to them in their culture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The one thing I would say, yes, and what I always point out too is, okay, we're looking at this ethnic culture, but still understanding that it's not a monolith. Like, you can't say that, okay, I've studied now about Native Americans, so if somebody comes in and they identify as Native American, I know all there is to know about their culture. You can't say that, because we're still one person, and we're a multicultural being in and of ourselves. But there are some values and some traditions that are probably still part of that person that you need to understand and you need to be respectful of, right? Because they identify as Native American. And that's really where we kind of go with that course. So I'm doing that. And then I am also a pharmacist consultant for the CDC Foundation, and I'm contracted with the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. So I have the honor right now of allocating COVID-19 therapeutics across the state of North Carolina. My drug is Evusheld, which is for immunocompromised individuals to help prevent them from getting COVID-19 if they're exposed. So patients who either cannot take the vaccine, or if they took the vaccine, they're not going to mount a immune response. then they would take this Evusheld injection. It's like 2 injections that they would take. So I helped distribute that all across North Carolina, and yeah, that's enough. Probably. I'm tired of talking about it.
So what I'm doing now, so I'm still practicing at pharmacy at a community health center. So some of the things that I've really gotten to do recently at my job at the community health center is we've gone live with clinical pharmacy services. So a lot of times when you talk to anybody outside of pharmacy, you say, you know, I'm a pharmacist, they automatically envision you working at a Walgreens or a CVS, behind the counter, counting pills and giving people medications, which sometimes that may even be a pharmacy technician, but that is some of what the pharmacist does. But when we went live with clinical pharmacy services, we moved a pharmacist out of our dispensing pharmacy and into the clinic. So at my job, one of the cool things is I kind of get the best of both worlds, because not only do we have a pharmacy, we can actually have the opportunity to work closely with our providers and make recommendations and to help improve outcomes. And so when the pharmacist was moved into the clinic, myself, and then we have other pharmacists that can do it as well. But some of the services we're offering include continuous glucose monitoring. And if you know me, other pharmacists who know me, other healthcare providers I work with, then they know that type 2 diabetes is my favorite disease state, if you could have one. Because I don't know why, but probably because it kind of hits home. My great-grandmother and my great-grandmother has passed away, but when she was living, she had type 2 diabetes. I think it was type 2 diabetes. And then my grandmother, she has type 2 diabetes, so it kind of hits home. And sometimes and I'm getting a little bit off subject, but when we're talking about my grandma, I use her as an inspirational story to help inspire your patients. So, but yeah, so I've been doing that with the continuous glucose monitoring. So y'all know the monitors that people use to check their blood glucose? Well, the continuous glucose monitoring is a device or equipment that people can use to attach to their body, either their arm or abdomen.
Like Freestyle.
Yes, Freestyle and Dexcom, those are both CGM products. And then they can scan it with a reader, or if they have the app, they can use the app and scan it, and it gets their glucose. And the cool thing about it is, so you would think, when patients are scanning, they're getting a lot of helpful information. What is their healthcare provider doing with that information? What do y'all think?
Are they even looking at it?
That's a good question. So a lot of providers that I've asked, what are you doing? And primary care providers, what are you doing with this information? The answer is nothing. Yeah. So then that's where I come in, and we can actually have appointments with the patient and retrieve their data from this device, and it prints out a lengthy report. I can actually sit down with the patient. I don't have to feel rushed. The appointments normally take about 30 minutes, and I can actually review with them and see the trends. And I like it because it actually shows the hour. Like, you can see when the glucose is going up, when it's going down by the hour. You can see.
Eating has something to do with that.
Yes, you can see in the middle of the night if it's going up, and you wonder, are you having midnight snacks?
Right.
So
you told me what you was eating. You know the machine don't lie. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, so it's really, really helpful, and I think it provides an opportunity to educate patients about certain things as it pertains to diabetes, and we can help patients to make improved and informed decisions, and we can also make recommendations to their healthcare provider to help improve outcomes. So that's really cool, and I get to do a lot of other things. So that's what I'm doing now.
I'm gonna ask, what are you doing for the summer as far as your kid is concerned, as far as your son is concerned?
So so recently I put him in golf.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's different.
Yes.
Does he like it?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yes, he expressed interest in playing golf. I showed him, because he's so young, he's not aware of all the different sports that he can participate in. So I actually made a little, I got pictures of different sports or videos, and I showed him. And he identified golf, that he wanted to do that. He had never done golf. He's done some other sports, but he wanted to do that. So, of course, I'm going to sign my baby up to play golf. That's what he wanted to do. So I recently signed him up. So he's been doing that, and that's going to last throughout the summer. Not the whole summer, but throughout part of the summer. And then So that's what we'll be doing in the summer, and then we'll probably get to take a vacation at some point. What you doing?
Summer. What am I doing for the summer? I don't even know. I know I'm going to Austin, Texas next weekend, and then it's either Dallas or Chicago at some point.
Is that for yourself or is that for business?
No, it's for business.
Okay. What you doing for yourself?
Those are for myself. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, the way I look at it now, like anything that I do is dual both. It's business and it's doing it for myself because I am trying. My goal is to live free, fit, and fulfilled. And to get to a 3-day work week, y'all. I'm trying to get to a 3-day work week. I only want to work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Every other day of the week, I want to be sit back, chilling, and relaxing, and counting my coinage coming into the bank. Okay. So that's why I'm on my hustle right now. You know what I'm saying? I am, but I'm living my best life though. Like everything that I do, I really, really enjoy it. I'm meeting great people. I'm meeting people who are on the same I would say vibration as myself, where they have gotten to this point in life where they realize that this life journey is really not about.
They want to live free.
We realize that life is not about me anymore. It's really about me building a legacy and what am I going to leave to the world, right? And understanding what your purpose is and really just moving towards that. And so I feel like I actually know what my purpose is now, and I get up every day and I am walking in my purpose. But the one thing that you brought up that is so important is making sure that you're filling your own cup and taking care of yourself. So when I say I want to be free, fit, and fulfilled, I've actually created a space for that free, fit, and fulfillment. And I make sure every day when I wake up, I try to do it every day, I spend time for me, filling my cup. So I'll show you all later, but I built my self-care room.
I heard it.
Yes.
I heard.
So I am so in love with my self-care room. It's not where I want it to be just yet, but I said, I am not going to wait till it's like all perfect. I'm going to start using this now. So I go in there, I do my yoga, and then I have my closet, my prayer closet. I go in there, and y'all, when I get in the prayer closet,
it's literally a closet.
It's a closet, yeah. I turn my closet into the prayer closet. There's nothing in there. There are Christian motivational books in there, and then I have some Christmas lights in there, so I don't have to turn the bright light on. I got like some blankets and stuff, and I have my kind of like a journal and a devotional in there. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, and so when I go in there, and then I write my prayers on a sticky note.
Yes,
I don't want to come out.
You're basking in the glory while you're there. I can imagine.
Yes, and you know what? I actually I realize because I'll turn YouTube on and I'll listen to some whatever music or whatever, and whatever hits me that day. But I've really just kneel down and pray, and I was like, you know what? There is something to this kneeling down and praying, other religions do on a regular basis. There's something about taking that time and just stopping, and I find that I can be way more creative. When that's happening, things just kind of come to me.
You know what came to me when you said that? I feel like you're putting yourself at, that there's someone above you. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like you're giving it to God.
Yes,
take it. You know what I'm saying? I like that.
And it's so freeing to do that because when we all realize that He's in control,
right?
I control nothing but myself. And I have to submit to this will and understand that everything that happens is part of that plan. It's so freeing.
It is. It's like, take it away from me, please.
Yeah. So
that's so dope.
Get back what I'm doing this summer. I'm gonna make sure I keep making time for myself, and then whatever doors and opportunities He opens, I'm just gonna be walking through it, and I'm building these courses.
That's awesome. You said something that hit me because there's a book that an audio book that I've been listening to for the longest. I haven't gotten through it yet, but it's the 7 Behaviors of Highly Effective People.
Oh, 7 Habits of Highly Effective. Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was talking about your purpose and thinking about, and I'm not trying to get gloom and doom, but on the day that you die, what is it that you've left behind?
Exactly.
What legacy have you left behind? What can you say that people remember you for?
Right.
And to think about that.
Yeah.
And what you said a little while ago kind of reminded me of that.
It's so true. Like when I'm talking to students now, and really when I'm talking to anybody, but it's particularly students, I talk to them about building a life worth living as opposed to spending all your energy building a career.
Right.
Because I really feel like my generation, and whether you all, I don't know, some of y'all might, I don't know if y'all consider yourself part of my generation.
No, I think
But
I know you see how she
I know you part of
see
my
that
generation.
shade?
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not part of
What's
my generation.
Dang.
But, okay, whatever.
Marie,
But let me
friend.
just say, I just feel like our generation was very much on building a career, getting your education, checking these boxes, building your career so that you could be successful. But
Nobody mentioned happy in there.
no. And when we ask kids, and I've stopped doing, when you ask kids, what do they want to be when they grow up? We're thinking of a title or career. Maybe they should just be, I want to be happy.
Right.
I want to be at peace. I want to have joy. Like,
Right.
that's where we really need to start moving towards, because success is a feeling. Success is not things. Because we're seeing over and over, people have a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
They look very successful with all these accomplishments,
Yeah.
but inside they're unfulfilled and they're killing themselves.
Yeah.
And so build a life worth living, work on building a legacy, and doors will just open for you because you are in that vibration of being happy, peaceful, and joyful and doing what you love,
Right.
as opposed to trying to check all these boxes and building just a career on this career
Yeah, well,
treadmill.
you know, we got that list.
You got that list?
No, I'm just saying, when you start talking about checking boxes, in my phone is a list.
Yes.
And I'm like, and it never ends. Like,
No.
it's a never ending list. I always add something to
Right.
it. And it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Sharita, what's next?
What's next for me? I don't know. I feel like all my friends, and even you ladies, are always like, okay, how can I build wealth? What's my next business venture? That's not me. Me, I'm like, what's making me happy? And that's traveling. So when's my next vacation? So that's what I think about. So right now, I'm just trying to make sure I plan out the rest of my vacations for this year and just live it up.
There you go.
That's what's next.
Yeah.
I'm there with that. I got
feel
it's a little bit of everything for me right now, honestly.
Well, what's next for me? I'm always thinking about, y'all, this student loan debt. I'm just not.
I'm not worried about it.
Don't be worried about it. You need not be worried about it either. Why you worried about
I'm
it?
concerned about it because I don't like debt, and it's just like a big burden.
It
and
is.
So I feel like I spend a lot of time thinking about what can I do next that's gonna help me pay off my student debt. And so one of the things that I'm doing next is consulting. I'm gonna do another consulting firm that is going to provide a service for people with a specific disease state, my favorite disease state. So, and
You're
I'm
gonna be a diabetes consultant.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, yeah, so I'm gonna target patients with type 2 diabetes and
Okay.
hopefully provide a service that can help them improve outcomes. Because when I looked at the data, I noticed that I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, 37 million people in the United States have diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ones that are actually diagnosed, or is this
This
including
is
the ones
this is
undiagnosed?
undiagnosed
Okay.
and diagnosed.
Okay.
How many of those people are here?
And that's in
I'm
the
talking
United
about in
States.
North Carolina. I remember seeing a visual of a map, and they called this like the Bible Belt area,
Mhm,
and we tend to have
a higher, yeah.
the most people with those disease states, diabetes specifically, and hypertension. So
Yeah, but that's
definitely make a great improvement in patient outcomes when it comes down to that. You have a lot of customers,
yeah, and that's
patients, I should say. Excuse me.
yeah,
It's a
and
long term.
it's okay. And then when you look at the number of endocrinologists in the United States, there are not enough endocrinologists because, let's be real, when you go and see your primary healthcare provider, most of those patients only have a 15 to 20 minute slide.
Yeah.
That is not enough time to properly educate someone on type 2 diabetes. And you just gave them this diagnosis, which is life changing, and then depending on their A1C, you want them to start an injectable therapy, and they don't know, and it's just too
have
much.
no experience with with self-injectables, that's what really kills me. Is like you give them this device, they don't know how to operate, and just send them on their way.
Yeah.
So
And then guess what? They take the prescription was electronically sent to the pharmacy, and you know how many patients have y'all seen come to the pharmacy and they get asked the question, "Would you like to speak to the pharmacist? Our pharmacist is available to counsel you." No, and they get home trying to read the directions themselves, and it can be difficult if you've never seen this. And they look at YouTube videos, and which YouTube can be helpful.
And generally, most people don't even consider looking at YouTube to even do it. So
they may not know. That's another thing.
Yeah.
So they don't know the resources that are available.
Okay.
So that's why
There we go.
it's good that you're in this role so you can educate them on
Right.
the available resources.
Yes, because primary care providers, they just don't have enough time. And I feel like patients with this disease state, they need more than 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, I feel strongly about it.
I agree. It takes about 15 minutes to teach them how to use it. That has nothing to do with the education on the disease state that they have. So,
So you're gonna get your certification, your certified diabetes educator?
Yeah, I've been looking at that. There's
Yeah.
quite a few. I believe it's 2,000 hours that I need to complete. So I've been looking at it and considering that. I have received a couple other certifications through the Association of Diabetes Care and Education Specialists, but that is kind of like on my list of things that I would like to obtain. But so that's what's next. And so not only will it help fulfill me, and I feel like that's kind of my purpose and what I want to do, because I like doing it and I feel fulfilled when I get to counsel patients at my job on this disease state compared to other disease states, and I get to take time with patients. And sometimes it makes me feel good when I'm going over certain information and the patient's like, nobody ever told me.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And I feel like I'm making a difference.
You
with
are.
this disease state. Like I said earlier, it really hits home for me because of my family history. So that's what's next. And not only is it helping fulfill me, like I was getting to, but hopefully it'll help pay off my student debt. Hopefully it'll help pay off my student debt. Let me say that for the camera.
I look forward to hearing about it.
I ain't worried about it. No, and you know the reason I say I'm not worried about it is because I really allow my student debt to be this weight around my neck and tell me why I couldn't do said things, why I couldn't leave my last toxic work environment. Because I was like, I can't leave. I have this massive amount of debt and my payment was like a mortgage payment, right? But I remember saying many times, not only audibly to people, but to myself, like, if I just got these student loans paid off, or if I didn't have to make these student loan payments, then I would leave. That's what I kept saying. Like, if I was like, I just want to hit the lottery just for enough to pay this off, and I'm gonna leave,
Isn't
right?
that something? Not even for anything else. You just like just to pay this
Just
bill.
to pay that off.
Yeah.
If I just hit just enough to pay that off, I would be so much freedom would come, right? And I kept that with me. And then what happened? Then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, right before COVID, in 2019, I started a project management program for Cornell, and I was like, well, I wonder if I can get like a forbearance, or just delay it. And so they will give you a forbearance. They'll give you like 90 days, and while you submit the paperwork, right? Well, I submitted the paperwork. I didn't have to pay. So this started in November. I didn't have to pay for 90 days. And then after I submitted the paperwork, they were like, no, this doesn't qualify. Well, lo and behold, then March rolls around. March of 2020 rolls around. And guess what? We don't have to make any student loan payments. So your girl hasn't had to make any student loan payments since November 2019. Yes.
Are your student loan debt still with the government?
Yes, all of mine is consolidated.
Can I tell you something that I just found out?
What did you find out,
So
girl?
there was a bill that was passed recently. You were in hospital pharmacy, right?
Yes.
And so you can count that time previously. Have you counted it yet?
So I looked at doing the paperwork. I haven't done all the stuff yet. Okay. But yeah, they say you can count all the time.
Yeah, they're allowing you not to just start when the program itself started, but they're letting you backtrack for however long you were working for a public service.
Yes, a nonprofit. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I work for a public service.
Yeah, well, if you're under that public health service student loan paid off.
Yeah, they'll absolve at the 10-year mark. No, but it counts.
Yeah,
what I'm
they're
telling you is
counting all the time.
They're counting all the time. I know that Dr. Q has been doing this pharmacy thing way longer than we have, which is why I'm saying, you know, I'm all about I'm all about finances. I'm a very good budgeter, and I think about exactly what you're talking about too.
Yeah.
I don't let it stress me out because I know at the end of the day where I'm at and where I was going with this is I do work in a hospital, and therefore I know in 10 years my debt will be absolved. What I learned and what I learned was this is that the least that I can pay on it, and that doesn't mean I'm not going to pay anything on it at all, but if there is a way to indicate my income being lower, and that may be investing in myself by increasing my 401k and bringing down my income so that when they calculate how much it is I should be paying them, it's going to be a little bit lower. When that 10-year, and when it hits, whatever's there, it gets taken away. And guess what it's calculated to be? 2/3 of my student loan. So I end up really having to pay a third of it. And a third of it is less than what my tuition was when I was in school.
But the other thing, and I'm sure you probably know this, you get hit with that taxes too.
Well, they
So
took it away.
Yeah.
They took it away?
Yeah, you don't get taxed.
You don't get taxed like that anymore?
Is
Okay.
it just
well,
during the pandemic?
No, it's falling in that
all
what
of
is
it,
it
like
called? PS.
PSLF,
Yeah.
Public Student Loan Forgiveness. But what I was saying though, really, is because I had kept telling myself, if I didn't have these student loan payments, I can leave. If I don't have these student loan payments, I can leave.
So COVID
When it got
gave you
to
that.
2020, and I really hit the pinnacle of the toxicity, God said to me, like, okay, what you gonna do now? Like you have no real thing that's holding you back in your mind,
Right.
because you don't have to make these student loan payments.
You got
So
put
that
to the
gave
test.
me that kind of like push to like say, Corey, you don't have to take this anymore.
Mhm.
I let that be such a burden. I was like, exactly. I'm like, deuces. I ain't gotta make none of these payments. I'm
Right.
going on. And so now it's like I'm not gonna let that hold me back. You know, you can't get blood from a turnip. You can only get what I got. Right? I mean, that's really is what it is. You can only get what I got. So that's how I'm living now. I'm just not gonna let it hold me back. I refuse to live in a scarcity mindset that, you know, because I have these student loans, I can't have
Right,
whatever
you can't
else.
do
I have to
that.
live in an abundant mindset.
Yeah,
I
I'm
am a
gonna
money
send you
magnet. Money comes easily and effortless towards
the
me.
financial template plan that was given to me so you could see what it is that I'm talking about, because I can kind of see in your eyes you're like, no, I'm still gonna think about it.
Yeah,
No,
and you
so-
are, yeah.
But I think you might think differently about it once you see it, and it's from a financial advisor.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us for the conclusion of our season 1. Yep, and the celebration of our 1-year anniversary. That Pharmacist show turns 1. So happy Father's Day to all you fathers, and happy Juneteenth.
Stay tuned for season 2.
And please remember to
Like,
Comment.
share.
And subscribe.
See you later. Happy Father's Day. Happy Juneteenth.